Turbles Celbor here with more Nintendo Switch related videos. So I have received a request asking how I record on the Nintendo Switch, and in particular sort of how that setup actually works. So I'm going to show you my setup, which is not the only setup that exists in the world, but I would say it's a pretty good setup. It's worked for me and I've had a lot of trial and error. So the key element when you're recording from the Nintendo Switch, first off, the Switch has a built-in record function. All of them do this. It's okay. So if you want to record a short video, it'll work just fine. When I say short, I mean, I don't know what the actual limit is, but I'm talking like, 30 seconds. And so there's a couple things you need to know. So for my videos, everything's in 1080p because I'm using the Switch in docked mode. So everything I'm going to talk about is related to either a Nintendo Switch HAC, HAC001, or the Nintendo Switch OLED. So just FYI, the only difference between the Nintendo Switch OLED and the Nintendo Switch HAC001, which is the hardware revision, is the OLED screen, and the OLED dock has a built-in Ethernet connection. So when you're trying to record on the light, I'm sure someone has figured out how to do it with modified hardware, but from my understanding, if you are not in docked mode, there's no way to record the screen output directly. And I personally don't like watching any videos where people try to record by like putting a camera in front of a screen. It just doesn't really work for me. So I direct capture the video output. So what you'll see here is my beautiful Nintendo Switch HAC001. I apologize for the janky camera. I'm just not a camera person. The back of my Nintendo Switch. So we've got the Ethernet cable, which is that white box. So it's, if you look at the Switch outputs, we've got at the top the AC adapter. Second one is the USB port, which is where my Ethernet is coming in, and then at the bottom is the HDMI out. So I run the HDMI cable to a splitter first, and then I put it into this NICS capture card. So this has a throughput, but I don't use the throughput. I used to, but instead what I've done is I split and amplify the HDMI signal, and instead run one cable into the capture card and then one cable directly into my display device. So the capture card natively records at 1080p. It basically converts the HDMI signal into a signal that can travel along a USB cable. If you're going to record anything from a Nintendo Switch, I highly, highly recommend that you record in its native output, which is 1080p, 60 FPS. The Switch will occasionally jump and drop frames, but if you're recording at 60 FPS, you can make it work. And with the NICS capture card in particular, you're only going to get 60 FPS if you're running it through a USB 3.0 cable. So don't try and put a 2.0 on there, because the data carry rate on that USB cable, the capacity just isn't high enough. So if you look over here, you will see that a tangle of cables, and then you will see my splitter. So this was like 10 bucks, and basically all it does is it takes the Switch HDMI output and then it splits it. So the gray cable's running into my capture device, and then the black cable is running into my display device. So the display device, of course, is a Dynex TV from like a bajillion years ago. So I pretty much just run it into a regular HDMI. So then I record everything on this Clevo laptop, and I'm running my cable into that blue USB 3.0. So I have done the physical portion of the video. So now I'm going to show you how on the back end this looks. So I am on my Clevo laptop. This is Fedora 35. So I am a big proponent of free software, and that doesn't necessarily mean things are free, like they don't cost money, although that's often the side. But there is a concerted attempt by companies like Google, which owns YouTube, and things like Microsoft, Adobe, Apple, they want you to pay for software. Now, this may sound a little communist, but I personally believe that the means of production should be in the hands of the people who are actually doing the producing. So if you are a creator, it's true that Adobe's Photoshop and like Apple's video editing software and stuff is very nice, and I'm not going to disparage it at all. But the ability to create art should not be behind a paywall, in my opinion. So all the software I use is available for free. Most of it's available on Windows. I know Windows is the most common operating system, so most of it is. I don't know if Shotcut is. I'm not going to worry about that. So I use Fedora. It's free. It doesn't cost any money at all, and it is everything's open source, and you can edit and modify software. It doesn't matter. So I am going to go ahead and show you what I do. So it's going to get a little wild. So first, this is the window that I'm actually recording in. This is OBS Studio. And over here is the OBS Studio. I'm going to show you how I actually capture stuff. So first off, you're going to notice this one that's going crazy. That's my microphone. So I use a $15 microphone from Target. It's a Heyday clip-on microphone. Specifically, if you're starting out, you do not need to spend a lot of money on gear because it will not help you. If you're like at, God, what's this? I don't know. If you're at like the level of doing podcasts and you got like 100,000 subscribers, sure, spend some money on a microphone, but I ain't gonna do that. So I got my microphone and aux right there. When you open OBS, this is pretty much all you're gonna see. You might see a thing that says desktop audio. I do not have that enabled on OBS. And the reason for that is because I do not want to hear my audio coming through the desktop, because basically it will loop everything and sometimes they get desynced. So I have disabled desktop audio in this scenario. So I'm going to add my input capture. Let's see, audio out. Where is it? There we go, video capture device. So I'm going to open this, and the video capture device we're going to use is in the USB. And it should be one of these. There we go. There it is. So the video format is emulated. It's actually, I think it's actually this one. So different ways that it converts the HDMI into video. You'll notice there's changes in brightness and color information. This one I've had the best luck with. So it's YV12. I'm going to leave the resolution unchanged and we'll leave the frame rate unchanged. This is the lowest thing on CPU. So OBS Studio, by default, will try and detect all your settings. One of the problems I've run into on Linux is that the drivers are different, so it doesn't always detect the settings correctly. So I have 6 cores, but I have no video card. So I don't have any like significant hardware encoders. I have like, gosh, a Renoir PC and graphics. So basically, it's an AMD 6-core Ryzen 5 processor, and it does more than enough. Ooh, video, hit stop. Come on. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and add the video. I'm not going to mess with the color range. I could do full color, and you'll just notice it makes it a little brighter. I will probably mess with the color in post. So I'm going to leave it as is. So now I've got a 1080p video stream coming off of the Switch. So if I go, this is Space Scavengers, just what I have open. So if I were just to play like this, first off, the video, although it's not obvious here, the video is actually desynced from my input by about half a second, which makes it really hard to control. So this is why I continue to use an external display device. So the next thing I got to do is I got to include the audio. So as far as this is concerned, let's do input capture. And it should be, yep, there it is, FHD capture. So technically this thing produces PCM samples and it's like digital, but I don't know what the heck. It treats it like an analog source. So now if you look over here, you see this is going like crazy. That's the in-game music. So pretty much this is the default setup that I need in order to actually record. So I have a microphone recording my voice. I have audio input from my capture device that's coming from the USB. And then I have this video input over here that's showing the actual resolution on the screen. That's how you set up OBS to actually start recording. But I've watched a lot of tutorials, and one of the things they don't tell you is the concept of encoding itself and like the disadvantages and advantages. So if you look down here, I'm not using a lot of CPU stuff. Instead, yeah, okay, that's working. Watch me look over there to make sure I'm recording. So down here, you'll notice there's all this recording stuff going on. Okay, streaming, recording, whatever. OBS is primarily focused on streaming, which I don't really do direct streaming that much because I don't have time to do a specific stream. So instead, what I want to do here, so this is taking the literal stream, but the thing is that a video stream realistically, specifically the YUV stream, is actually essentially a series of JPEG images and an audio stream. That's a ginormous file. So if you took a 1080p picture 60 times a second, the file will be huge. It's just not gonna work. Like, you would have to have terabytes and terabytes of data to even record a little bit. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna go to settings. I have to find some way to compress the video stream. So first off, let's look at when you're in OBS, let's look at output. You can see my settings here. So I keep it the same as my streaming, whatever. But the main thing here is I pick a recording format. I choose MKV because you can pause it midstream if you need to. And then we'll not worry about audio settings. And what I got here is the scaling, right? So first off, if I want something that actually looks good, I'm going to switch it to 920. And then I'm going to make sure that I force a 60 FPS. And then on my actual switch recording setting, I use I can't even pronounce this, but I use the sharpened scaling with 36 samples. Apply, and then we got it. Okay, so the key thing here, though, is that I'm basically forcing it to not do any downscaling. I have to worry a lot, though, about file size. So one of the things I've run into when recording is that if you try and use high-quality medium file size, this is my first couple of Fortnite videos, I started getting severe compression artifacts during motion. So I've been able to eliminate those artifacts by doing the indistinguishable quality large file size setting. And realistically, the tremendously large file size lossless quality thing you could do, but that's going to be like, even a 20-minute video is going to be like a terabyte. So I don't even bother. I do this. If I do a recording session of about an hour, it's about 5 gigabytes. So that's pretty reasonable. Basically, it's the quality of a Blu-ray movie without, like, you know, too much loss. The audio sounds fine. I'm not an audiophile, and I already have some hearing loss, so it's impossible to tell. So that's how I actually record. Highly, highly, highly recommend that you use OBS, in part because it's free and open source. And note that you will hear Google and Android talk about open source, but they never talk about free. So the free and open source software movement believes in 2 specific things, and Google only aspires to one of them. So number 1, open source, which is the code for the software is visible, and free is that it does not impinge on the rights of the user, the end user. So if you ever had to like scroll past a bunch of EULAs and all these things you're agreeing to, that is absolutely not necessary to use software. So anyway, that's how I record. I have an SD card. It's 500 gigabytes, so it's SDXC, and it's sufficient for most of my recording purposes. All right, so let's go out of this. So the other thing I do is, oh, wow, that's exciting. That's my OBS where I'm recording the screen. I have 2 instances open. So the other software I use is Shotcut. Now, I don't know if Shotcut's available on Windows or Mac, but I know it's available on most Linux platforms. And if you're interested, I have Flatpak enabled for Fedora. I think it comes by default. But if you're a Linux user interested in using Linux, you can pretty much get any software that's Linux compatible to work using Flatpak. So the big thing with Shotcut is you can import files. So typically what I do is I will import my video file right here. As you can see, this is like Fortnite, and then what I'll do is I'll drag it down into the timeline and I'll do my editing. There are people who've done much better video editing software than what I've got, so I'm just gonna ignore that for now. So if you are interested in recording Fortnite or anything from the Nintendo Switch, this is how I do it. Post-processing is super important. I do all my thumbnails with GIMP, but any photo editing software will be sufficient for thumbnails. The other thing too, as far as videos go, and this is more for the people who are on YouTube. Number one, I use Pixabay and gosh, I wish I had it open, but now I'm going to do it. Beep, 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 beep. Free stuff, free content. I use Dig CC Mixter .org for music and audio clips, as well as Pixabay. Follows Creative Commons license rules. So if you notice, sometimes on the end of my videos, I'll like mention a specific artist and see the Creative Commons license. This is where I'm getting it. And then the other place I go for free content is Pixabay. So Pixabay has photos, they've got illustrations, they got vectors, they got video. A lot of my stock video comes from here. I try to cite sources when I can. And then we got music and we've got sound effects. So my intro music actually came from this site. So God bless the people who upload stuff free on Pixabay, because I wouldn't be able to do. I am not a multi-talented person. The important thing you need to learn is about search engine optimization. And here's the thing, is there's like a bajillion videos about it, and there's people who are experts in it, and I am not an expert in it. But very, very important is that you need to understand two things about how YouTube works. Number one, YouTube is a complex search engine, and number two is that you are not playing to an audience, you're playing to an algorithm. So if you want to get any amount of views on YouTube, and I am not like a big YouTube channel at all, but if you want to do it, the number one thing is, so let's say you want to make a video about, this is like a sports video. I actually really like this video. It's a 1 in a million chance. So let's just pause it. I'm not going to worry about that. So we got ads and stuff like that. But the key element here is that search engine optimization is super important. And there's all kinds of information out there on the web. I'm not going to go into like super detail about any of that. Instead, I'm going to show you an important thing, which is the tags. So the search engine the AI can't watch a video and like understand what it's about. That's not how AI works. Instead, the way that YouTube's algorithm works is essentially it looks for two things. Number one is video tags. And number two is the video transcript. So if you can turn your audio into text, YouTube can understand it. So all my videos have subtitles for two reasons. Number one, if you're deaf and watching this, I try my best. I don't have a lot of time to do transcripts, so I really apologize if the quality of the subtitles are crappy. But if you have issues hearing audio or understanding my English, that's fair. Like, that's why I do subtitles, is to make it more accessible. That's number one. Number two, the AI can't understand audio. Like, quite frankly, as far as I understand it, and I'm not a computer science major, most computers can't really understand audio. Instead, they need to turn audio into text, and they can understand that. So making subtitles for your videos is critically important, because it allows it basically tells YouTube's algorithm what the content of your video is. So you need to do that. But number two is you need tags, and boy howdy do you need tags. However, you don't have to do the hard work of actually figuring out what tags work, because all of that is publicly available on any YouTube video. So let's look at this video. This video has 14 million views, so it's a very successful video. It has a bunch of likes. I heard they disabled the dislike button, but I guess I could dislike it. I don't know. I like this video. I already watched it. So I want to know, let's say that I'm a sports channel, or any video game channel or whatever, and I want to make a video that's successful, but particularly I want people who liked this video, the only world record that cannot be broken, in all caps. I want that video. People who watch this video should really watch my video. So if you're let's say you're a Fortnite channel, by God, please steal my tags. I don't care. I'm going to show you how to do this. So all you got to do is look at the source code. So any browser can do this. If you right click and then you say view page source, look at that. Oh my God, there's all this source code. So every page on the internet is actually like this. It's just this long string of HTML5 code. So I'm going to go ahead and use the search function, which on most computers is Control F, and I'm going to look for keywords. So I'm going to go keyword. Oops, or I guess I could spell it right. So we got keyword. And you'll see there's a thing that says meta name keyword. Not going to worry about that. I'm actually going to look for another one. Usually it's the second one. I said keyword. Why is it doing weird? Is it right there? But it's just like, yeah, there we go. Sorry, my display is unusual because I'm recording. So you'll notice there's all these, there's a, it says keywords and then colon, and then it's got a little set of quotes and then a whole bunch of quotes separated by commas. These are the tags that the person who uploaded the video used. And this is really important because this is how YouTube figures out like what the content of the video is and how to kind of sort it with the algorithm. So this is a video about a world record javelin throw. So you notice the first word is javelin world record. So javelin world record, javelin record, javelin world record, but like, wait, they doubled it? What the heck? Am I dumb? They spell it different? Nope. One's capitalized, one's not. That's kind of weird, dude. You don't need to do that. Anyway, so then we got Yui Han, Germany. And Yui Han is a major person in the video. We got Germany Javelin. He was from East Germany. We got Olympic Javelin. There was a lot of footage from the Olympics. We got Jan Zeleny World Record. There was another person who was mentioned in the video. So you see here, they basically have everything related to the content of the video. Now, some people are really, really good at like figuring out all this crap. I sure am not. So I basically look at other people who are successful in a video type that I'm making, and I basically look at their tags. These tags are publicly available. They're publicly posted. Some people will say, I own those tags. No, you don't. Like, when you upload to YouTube, it's available. It's visible on the page code. So, and I'm going to say this right now. If you want to make Fortnite videos, and you want to make Fortnite videos like what I'm making, God damn it, just take my tags. I don't care. You can even steal my audio. I don't care. You want it, whatever. Just use it. It's all, I didn't spend any money on it. You don't have to spend any money on it either. Anyway, so now you'll notice sometimes you'll see Unicode stuff like this. That's probably an and sign. It's just, it has to be in Unicode, and I don't know if HTML5 supports like the special characters, whatever. So after that, you'll notice channel ID, blah, 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 blah. So just so people know, I'm going to show you the tags that I'm using for Fortnite videos, because that's like my most popular type of video. So I just have this in OBS, or not OBS, ODT, so OpenOffice. All right, blah, 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 blah. Let's see, open special. Come on. Yeah, all my CPU is being eaten up by screen capture, so it might take a sec. Yeah, open recent. There we go. Fortnite video templates.odt. And what I got over here, so this is for my solo versus squads. So the tags are individual, separated by commas. So go ahead, if you're watching this and you're like you're desperate to make Fortnite videos, blah, 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 just take them. Go ahead. I'll just leave it right here for now. But you can see essentially some of the things that are related to Fortnite. These are YouTube search terms, but it also kind of infers based on people's desire to like watch something. So if you're watching Solo Squads, you notice there's a lot of variations of the way that you could ask YouTube for solo versus squads. I do have, I don't know if this is Korean or Japanese, but I have some of that in there. There's a surprising amount of you who watch this who are from Japan. So part of the reason for that, I think, is because I included Japanese characters in the tag list. So cool. Yeah. Anyway, so the other thing too is if you're making content for the Switch, you can look at analytics. If you're on YouTube, you want to make YouTube videos, one of the things you'll notice is you can kind of see what people are searching for. One of the things I've noticed with this channel is people are much more interested in like my Switch content. Like they like Fortnite. Fortnite's popular, but the fact that I say the word Switch a lot, it draws people, and that's like my #1 term. So if you're watching this, like when you watch a video that's related to the Switch, almost everybody includes tags like Fortnite Nintendo Switch if it's a Fortnite video on Nintendo Switch, or it's like Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch X. So that's pretty much important. Like if you want to make videos on YouTube and have people watch them, you need to make sure they're able to be found, and that's how you do it, is through tags and through transcripts. So if you want to make a transcript, and this is something that I do, So let's go to my channel. Ha 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 ha. Entertainment. No, I have it under the business tab. There we go. I don't make any money doing this, but it's sort of a business. It's my business. So we got the channel dashboard right here. You can see kind of who's watching what and what's popular. If this video ever blows up, know that before I uploaded this video and other videos, my most popular video was Fortnite competitive Nintendo Switch, because I can't spell. Also, you'll notice all my videos have parentheses or brackets in them, because apparently having brackets or parentheses in a video improves the click-through rate. So I don't know why that is, but I watched a lot of instructional videos, and that's what it did. So if you have uploaded a video to YouTube and it's had significant amounts of time to process, you'll notice on the channel dashboard there's a little tab called Subtitles. So if you click on that, you'll see that all my videos have 3 sets of languages. So language number 1 is English United States, and then we've got English Automatic, and we got English. So I use YouTube's automatic subtitles. Now I could edit them, but unfortunately I don't have time to do it, and so I usually don't. And so that's why my subtitles are usually not very good. But it does help in terms of search engine optimization, and it allows people who maybe are not able to follow my English to at least kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. So this is how I make videos on Nintendo Switch and upload them to YouTube. So let's go back really quick, because the last thing I do before I actually upload anything is I export videos from Shotcut. So the main thing you need to know, if we go into advanced, when you're exporting, YouTube supports a lot of file formats, but realistically, the only one that matters is MP4. So I'm not worrying, these are not interlaced videos, but they are compressed. So an MP4 is compressed compared to the original video. So if I were to export something as like a MKV, it would probably have slightly higher video quality, but it's not going to be very small at all. It's going to be gigantic. So instead, I export everything in MP4 because it's like more usable. My internet is not good enough. So for reference, I have I would say fairly typical for the US internet connection, which is an asymmetrical connection. So it's 10 megabits up and about 60 down. Not a very good internet connection. And these are megabits. These are not megabytes. So a bit is essentially a single 1 or 0. So it's 2 parts of data. A byte is like 8. So if you have like Comcast, for example, number 1, if you have a true gigabit connection, which is via fiber in the United States, congratulations, you're very lucky. If you don't, Xfinity's probably misled you about the capabilities of their internet. And I'm in an area that has 2 options. Essentially, we have CenturyLink and we have Xfinity. CenturyLink did not lie to me about the capacity of their internet. They're basically like, we got 60 down, 10 up, that's all you get. It's a DSL connection. Okay, whatever. Xfinity, nominally the cable, so they said, oh, you have gigabit in your area. I was like, no, you don't. And they don't. They told me initially that they had gigabit internet in the area I live in, and they don't. Instead, they have cable internet. So cable nominally can get you about 300 megabits per second. However, while that is true if you're a single family house and you don't have to share any connection with anybody, you probably could get up to 300 megabits per second. I got in an argument with Comcast on the phone because they said, oh yeah, well you should be getting better internet. And I'm like, well, you only have 1 cable running. I live in an apartment building. They have approximately 1 cable running into the building. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, they get 300 megabits per second for the whole building. So we have to, if we were doing Comcast, we have to share with everybody in the building. Anyway, not relevant. The important thing when you're uploading video or converting video to MP4s, remember it's going to be more compressed. The higher the quality, the better. But the question you should really think about is in terms of your codec. I highly recommend just stick with either H.264, either VAPI or NVEC, depending on your encoder, or just stick with a software encoder. If time is not an issue to you, like it's with me, I usually go to work and on Sunday, so I usually record on like Friday, Saturday, and then I encode video on Sunday while I'm at work. So I can literally make like 3 hours of video, set Shotcut to encode video, and just let it run. So if it takes 3 hours, who cares? I'm at work. So I highly recommend using a software encoder rather than a hardware encoder if you don't have to worry about time. If time is a big issue to you, try using a hardware encoder. I've tried. My hardware encoder sucks, and I have a Renoir. So it's basically the video encoder that's built into the graphics in the mobile version of the Ryzen 5. It sucks. So I'd recommend not doing that. Quality is terrible. It's very fast, but the quality is terrible. So if you really want to make videos that are interesting to watch on YouTube, don't worry about time, worry about quality. So max out that quality and use either basically the H264 encoder is what you want to use, because that's the one that everybody actually uses. Anyway, so that is my video on how I actually make videos on YouTube. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. I also put links to all the software that I use and the entirety of all of the sources that I use for open source content. All right, thank you.